Hey, welcome everybody. We're doing another review of a Second Sight film release of some Hammer classics.
Ooh.
And this one is the last Frankenstein film of Hammer, called Frankenstein and the Monster from Hell from
He's a monster
1974.
from hell. It's the last Terence Fisher horror film as well. I think he made one more movie that was like Robin Hood or some sort of bullshit like that, which
Was it
I don't,
Robin and Marion?
I don't know. Terence Fisher, actually, previously we reviewed The Mummy. He was the one that directed that as well. I think he did a lot of Hammer stuff.
I mean, he did Curse of the Werewolf, Dracula Prince of Darkness, The Devil's Ride Out, which is an awesome satanic kind of movie. Frankenstein Must Be Destroyed. And then this one, Frankenstein and the Monster from Hell.
Yeah, so technically I think this is the sequel to
Yeah.
Frankenstein Must Be Destroyed, where Dr. Frankenstein, Peter Cushing, who I think he was playing Dr. Frankenstein in all, like there's like 7 of them, and he played all of them but one. And I don't know what the story is.
Well, they tried to reboot it in, I think, 70, and they had like Ralph Bates play Frankenstein, and it's called The Horror of Frankenstein, and the monster was played by David Prowse, who plays the monster in this film.
Interesting thing too, yeah, David Prowse and Peter Cushing would go on 3 years later to both star in, of course, Star Wars, which is what it was called. I don't want to fucking call it New Hope. Fuck you. It wasn't called New Hope. It was Star Wars.
And Christopher Lee looks a lot better in Star Wars than he does here. A lot of people watching
Lee was in Star Wars. What?
No, I'm sorry, Peter Cushing.
I know what you meant.
They were saying in behind the making of that they were, since his wife had died a year or so before, and he was really distraught that he looked like he'd lost so much weight and he wasn't eating it. They were figuring he was going to pass away relatively quick, but he lived for another 20 years.
Yeah, that's crazy. But this one, it's a sequel to the previous Frankenstein movie was like 5 years earlier.
Right.
And this one features kind of a younger mad doctor, scientist type by the name of Simon Helder, who I think he's convicted and he's like sent to the insane asylum. But it's the insane asylum, just so happens, that is run by Dr. Frankenstein. Boys, what are the odds? What are the odds in that?
His name's Dr. Victor. In other films, he was Dr. Franken or Dr. Stein. I think it was the previous movie.
Frankenstein, of course, Dr. Frankenstein is doing the experiments with these patients that are recently passed away and trying to make just the ultimate monster of destruction, boys.
A hairy monster.
Goofy as fuck looking this thing is. It looks like the grandpa of the Geico cavemen.
I mean,
and like I said, David Prowse is behind the makeup. British, I guess he was a stuntman, right? Was that what he was, pretty much?
Yeah, pretty much a stuntman. He was in a few other Hammer films, like the one we mentioned, and he was in Vampire Circus a few years earlier.
So, I mean, this is interesting for sure, because like fans of just that don't know any better, you're thinking you're going to get, the Frankenstein monster. But no, this new monster looks nothing like that. Like we said, he's kind of a monkey looking, ape looking creature. Towards the tail end of the movie, they do like a brain transplant with, I think it was another scientist or something that went mad. So now, like, he was conflicted, like he was, he had thoughts and feelings and shit at the end of the movie.
Well, Dr. Frankenstein in this, I guess he was always kind of a bad guy, but he comes off really bad, and he manipulates people into suicide and stuff so he can get their body parts. He manipulates everybody.
The monster towards the end has had enough, because he's got the brain of a genius scientist, but he's also got the brawn of, like, I don't know who the fuck else he killed and took use for their body or whatever. So he's got insane power and brains and kind of goes on a rampage.
Well, they're saying that the body took over the brain and making it more animalistic.
Yeah. And kind of goes crazy there. And there's a really cool scene at the end where the lunatics are kind of attacking the creature. And I thought that was an interesting end to the movie without giving it away. But I had fun with this one too, man. I actually enjoyed this. This is very gothic, set in 1800s, I guess.
Well, here's the thing: the movie kind of went back in time because Frankenstein Must Be Destroyed seemed to take place in the early, maybe 1900s, and this one went back in time a little bit, so it's a little weird looking as far as it looked. They mainly did it for the aesthetics of the dresses and the way people the men dressed and stuff and the outfits, but it is kind of strange that they went a little bit back in time for some reason.
I'm not sure I don't even know if they gave a date when this was.
Nah, probably not.
Yeah, I mean, it's beautifully shot. The transfer on this again, Second Sight Films just does an insane job. I want to tell you right now, give you guys a little bit of a heads up. Second Sight Films is in the running, to me, as Studio of the Year this year.
Oh, my God.
They're going to win their first Pity Award.
Yeah.
Some of this stuff they're coming out with, the Drive 4K, which I don't know if you're a fan of that movie or not, but the 4K of that, holy shit, it makes your mouth drop to the floor, baby.
To me, this Monster from Hell, of the two, I noticed how well it looked. It looks sharp and very detailed.
Yeah, like I said, I believe these are brand new 4K transfers from Second Sight Films. And again, their methods of how they remaster this shit, I don't know, but it all looks insane. They've got more and more stuff coming out too. Dog Soldiers is one that I took a look at recently. The review of that should be up by the time this video is out. And I'm not a big fan of that movie at all, but I don't know. It looks great again, like I said. And this is no exception. Cheers for Second Sight Films. Packed with special features as well. Audio commentary with, I know you're a big fan of Kat Ellinger.
Yeah, I listened to her a little bit.
Film academic balls. Are we film academics, Steve?
You got to have a big chest tattoo to be a film academic for these type of movies.
Archive audio commentary with Shane Bryant, Madeline Smith, and Marcus Hearn, an appreciation of Frankenstein and the Monster from Hell by David Huckville, the proper Englishman. The music and the Monster from Hell, Taking Over the Asylum, Charming Evil, Terence Fisher at Hammer. I'm guessing that goes into all the movies that he made for Hammer Films, which is quite a bit. And there is a limited edition of this as well with the bulbous slipcover and the steels and all that good stuff, man. Second Sight Films, their shit is hard to beat.
And of course, they should give you a replica of Peter Cushing's wig. That was quite.
Cool. I wonder what the likelihood is. There's a booklet in this too with new film essays, Kevin Lyons, Kelly Robinson, and Emma Westwood, plus production steals. What a likelihood of maybe a box set of some of these Hammer movies? Have they ever been like a definitive? Arrow does these big box sets, and Second Sight kind of does box sets from time to time with multiple films. Wonder what the likelihood would be of that.
There's been in the past there had been a big giant. I mean, I can't count how many discs it was of a Hammer film releases on DVD, and you unfolded it and it was like a cross.
Oh wow!
Kind of like that Demonia. But I mean, it was a really. I'm thinking like 30 movies or something crazy. I mean, it was a giant DVD package. I don't recall who put that out, but it was something.
Well, the thing with the Hammer films too, though, like they really, and I don't know how many of them they're starting to release them in 4K or not, but those movies like that is really what 4K is all about, in my opinion. like the atmospheric film look of these movies, I would be very interested in a 4K box set of some of the Hammer movies, or maybe volumes of the Hammer movies in box sets.
Well, I don't know. I mean, to me, I don't know, unless, especially in the States, about the rights, because before there was like, Universal released some, Warner Brothers released a lot of them, of the Dracula films. So it's kind of a thing that you probably would not be able to do that in the States. Maybe in UK or other territories could probably do it.
That's the cool thing about 4K is there's no region to it. So if Second Sight wanted to do it, or Arrow or whoever, if they do the 4K, we're set, boss. But this particular edition as well, Diabolic DVD, you can go to Orbit DVD. I highly recommend this one too. And this one looks great. If you're into Hammer horror, I would say it's a must buy.
And you get to see he did some. You remember when he jumped on that table? That was pretty athletic for an old man like him. I was like, no way, Jose. And so, I mean,
well, there's some cool gore scenes in this too.
There's eyeballs and brains and stuff. I think they actually used a lot of animal parts, and they were saying in the commentary or something that it stunk really bad because of they had to do this for so long it started rotting, and stinking.
From what I understand, like there's a scene too, and I don't know if this is true, but I think this was in an interview or something, where like they used like blood transfusion blood that had expired that they got somewhere. Mm-hmm. And it was revolving around the scene with Peter Cushing biting down on the vein, and there was real blood in his mouth.
Right.
Would that happen now, Steve? Like back then, I'm sure like they didn't.
Well, that was his idea to do that. It wasn't in the script, so he came up with that, and he knew it, so he knew that shit was nasty, so he just thought that would be he would do that. So that that's pretty wild.
Yeah, it's insane. But I had a lot of fun with this one too. Very well made movie. I think movies like this perfect for around Halloween time, which they're bringing it out the end of August. And, this one and The Mummy in particular, perfect for Halloween nights, either one. If you're wanting a gothic horror romp, if you will, either one of those would be good.
And also, if you're interested in Hammer, there's several documentaries that are really good. Flesh and Blood, the Hammer story. And then there's one, I think it's called Hammer Horror, the Warner Brother Years or something like that. That's all those things. You can, if you had never gotten into it, you could get a lot of great titles out of watching those documentaries.
That is Frankenstein and the Monster from Hell. Check it out and check us out. We're over at
DEADPIT.com.
Give us the thumbs up.
Up your butt.
Like, subscribe. And if you subscribe, here's something else you can do. Once you subscribe, you can click the bell notification, right? And it'll notify you anytime that Dead Pit puts up new shit.
Or don't. I really don't give a if you do.
I want you to. I want you to.
I don't care.
Let's keep our community growing here on YouTube.
I don't like it. I don't want you to do nothing.
Listen, they need to do that, pal.
No, don't you dare touch it.
Thumbs up. Subscribe. And click that bell.
For this video officially, it's Old Curly Jaws has a message for you. Go on over to shop.deadpit.com and go look at their Teen Public store right now. You've got some new shirts like the Old Curly Jaws official t-shirt, which is brutal and badass. You got the Yummy Gummy shirt with the captain himself on the shirt. You got Uncle Bill's face on a fucking shirt. You got the Final Girl shirt. You got all these shirts over at shop.deadpit.com. Get them before they're all out, especially the new one, Bedtime 1039. It doesn't get better than that, so go on out. Check out these shirts at shop.deadpit.com. Go look at their Teen Public store. You're going to have a good old time. Get them all!
Thank you to all of our supporters on Patreon. DEADPIT on Patreon.com is the only place to check out a complete archive of the old Dead Pit radio shows all the way back from 2005 on, in addition to the midweek shows and fan commentaries, exclusive podcasts, and much more. Dead Pit on Patreon.com if you're interested. Tiers start at only $1.